So for today, we're going to start off all about game design and how to become a game designer. Yes, my name is Fahd Khalifa, also known as Felta, the online name or my username or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I'm very excited. This is the schedule for this week, week 1. And week 1 includes today, Intro to Game Design. And next, tomorrow, we're going to talk about, Haytham's going to talk about the Intro to Game Development. And on Sunday, our hero, Ahmed, will talk about sketching. So, yeah. So the contents of this presentation. Before everything, is everyone comfortable and they can see everything? Okay, I just want to give a chance for everyone to log in, and the presentation is cool. And it has the art done by Ahmed, obviously. He's amazing. So yeah, the contents of this presentation, or for today, we're going to start off with what does a game designer actually do? A lot of people, when they say it, a game designer, عبالهم إنه هو designs. He's like a يرسم the game, or يرسم الشخصية, or يرسم مثلا. لا, game designers the terminology مو بواضح حق وايد ناس. It's a good time to talk about it in the community. Next, what kind of game designer do you want to be? It's not just game designer خلاص. لا, في types of game design, or depends on the size. I'll talk about it more next. And then, what is a game design document? Something that a lot of EU developers like to talk about. So we will include this in this presentation. Next, also, we're going to talk about how to get a job as a game designer. It's not easy. Yeah, and is game design a dream job? The $1 million question. So yeah, this is the contents of the presentation of today. And before we start, I want to mention this. So yeah, there's a contest. Let's make it interactive. Let's make it fun. Not just me talking and وخلاص. So whenever you see this golden exclamation mark in the presentation, it means that I have a question for the viewers. And whoever answers right gets a point. And at the end of the presentation, we can, keep score of who won, and then we can, the winner gets $50 gift card. So I hope everyone likes to take part, and it's very cool to get the community involved in our presentations. So yeah, this is the contest for today, and we can choose any of the gift cards. Yeah, are you ready? Yeah, let's go. What does a game designer actually do? So, like I said earlier, game design or game designer is a term that a lot of people say, oh, ترى I'm a game designer, but what does a game designer do? في وايد أشياء يقدر يسويها. مو بس ترى I want to be I'm a programmer, I want to be a game designer. Yeah, he can. It's not that easy. So what does a game designer actually do? We'll answer that question, and we'll see how it goes. at the end of the presentation, I can guarantee you will think of other ways how you can take part in the development of a game. And so the game designer, باختصار, he is the one that develops the rules of the game and the mechanics. Basically هو اللي يصمم اللعبة، هو اللي يقول إنها فيها شخصيات، ولا لا فيها مثلا objects that you move around، ولا مثلا is it multiplayer. فهو he decides the game moving forward. This is the game designer. So for example, I'll give you an example. In an indie studio, you'd have artists, you'd have programmers, and you'd have other developers, and you notice that I put a big chunk of the pie that game designers have a big responsibility in the. So this pie chart is a responsibility chart. So what kind of figure does the developer weigh on the development of the game? Artists take part, obviously, programs take part, but the game designer has a lot of responsibility because the programmer will take the design min from the game designer. The artist will take will take the ideas from the game designer. So in an indie studio, the game designer will take heavy responsibility on the development of the game. So are you ready for our first question? So I'll look at the YouTube chat and see if people answer. So my first question of this contest, it's a way of showing people the terminology used in the industry. So my first question is, take it easy, don't answer really quick. I'm sure it's sometimes people will answer very quickly and they're like, oh, I didn't think about it. So indie studio, what does indie mean, or what does indie stand for? Indie studio. Indie studio. There might be lag, but I'll wait for your answers. Okay, I guess Ace is the first to answer. So so indie studios mean independent studios. Independent studios شو المعنى أو شو القصد منه؟ إن they're not they don't have a publisher, they don't have someone that will publish the game for them. They operate independently. They are self-funded. There might be an investor, but the control is internal, not by a big AAA publisher. So in indie studios, usually it can be one person and it can be like a small team. I'll also talk about this in the next slide. So the game designer role all depends on the size of the project. So it can start from an indie studio or up to a AAA studio. The game designer and an indie studio, he can be all of the above. He can be the programmer, the artist, and the designer all in one. So he'll have to cater to all of his needs. بروحه. But moving upwards, I'll show examples later, but moving upwards, then the developers will increase in the studio. And in a AAA studio, you get hundreds of developers. So why do I say that? And the game designer role becomes more specific, not just covering many areas of the game. He would be more specific. So in an indie studio, for example, a game designer. I said a game designer can be either بروحه, he can do it all. He doesn't have to. He can do it on his own. But in an indie studio, obviously there are testers, there are designers, there are artists, a programmer, and a sound engineer, for example. So in an indie studio of 1 to 10 developers, usually the designer will cover a lot of aspects of the game. And his role is very important, but we are us, and he will have to collaborate with them. And I'll talk about this later. So this today, all we're going to talk about is the designer part, or the designer role, let's say, in an indie studio or a AAA studio. I'll give you an example of an indie studio, because just to get you acquainted to the terminology. Well, who's an indie studio, for example? So yeah, Inner Sloth is done as a 3-man or 3-developer studio, and they're considered as an indie developer or indie studio. So I think the next question is, are you guys ready for this question? So the next question for this slide. So who knows the game that Inner Sloth made? They're very famous for, basically. They're an indie studio, and they developed a game that went global very fast. Even my son plays it, and it doesn't look like a cool game at all, but it made so Asa gets another point. Among Us. So that's the right answer. Among Us. They started in 2018, and they managed to get 500 million downloads to date, gathering 50 million in revenue. So gathering. I meant generating 50 million in revenue, which is not a simple number for a 3-developer indie studio. So this is an example of an indie studio. I just gave you more stats about the game. So moving forward to a AAA studio, let's say, or a much bigger studio. Usually they're not called a studio, they're called a publisher, which have studios under them. So they're much bigger. And then in a AAA publisher, you would have teams. And these teams will have developers in them. And for example, game design, the game design team will have even more developers under them, which every game designer will have a specific thing to do. So I'll also give you an example about a AAA publisher. Usually the AAA publishers will range from 100 plus to 1,000. So they're big companies, basically. And obviously, we're going to talk about the game design part only in a AAA publisher. For example, Activision Blizzard and the Call of Duty franchise. The Call of Duty franchise is huge, and I'm sure everyone knows it. It's a multiplayer FPS shooter, it's huge. The Call of Duty franchise is huge. And it started, or let's say only in 2020, these statistics are, they had 200 million players playing Call of Duty games. They generated 3 billion in revenue, and they have 4 studios developing the franchise. With 1,000 plus devs. Another question coming up. So this should be easy for the Call of Duty players. The Call of Duty franchise has a lot of games, and the question is easy for anyone as a player of Call of Duty. So the question is, I hope someone else answers. So what is the latest Call of Duty game called? The latest that is out, released, not testing, not in development. So the latest Call of Duty game that is released to date. Yeah, Ali J gets it because Black Ops is before Cold War. Cold War is the latest one. So yeah, I'll give it to Ali J because it's called Black Ops Cold War. Cold War is the latest edition. So yeah, congrats Ali J for answering that question. So yeah, let's move on. So what kind of game designer do you want to be? We talked about game designing in an indie studio. We talked about game design in a AAA studio or a publisher. So what kind of game designer? There are types. And it's very tough to select which game designer do you want to be. It all depends on your skills, and it all depends on your what's your passion? What do you like to pursue in the game development? There's lots of types of game designers, and we're going to talk about them. But I'm going to talk about it from a AAA point of view. So you would see a few of the game designer types. So like I said earlier on, you can be a game designer and you can do everything. Or you can be more specific and be a level designer. Level designers usually, they design the levels of the game in terms of environment, in terms of blocking out the player progression. Is it linear? Is it open world? Is it so the level designer basically selects or designs the player progression of the game. Content designer, I like to do more content design, where you can talk about the story of the game, talk about the characters of the game, talk about things, environment, for example, the history of the game. So anything in terms of content that will be involved in the game, the content designer, for example, items or armor or weapons or items or hello. And next, the system designer. And the system designer usually has some background in programming, and so he would understand what's required technically in order to implement a system, for example, combat system, in terms of players and hostile enemies and which skill to trigger, etc. Other systems include, for example, the multiplayer system. So it's a little bit broad system, but usually there's a system designer khas or for that task. Another one would be like an experience designer. An experience designer usually involves the player's experience. So how does the player feel when he plays the game in terms of, for example, when he shoots a rifle, is there like a feedback in terms of sound or in terms of VFX? Which buttons are the ones that he should use when he fires the weapon? Basically, it all revolves around the experience of the player. So the designer يفكر من ناحية the player and see how he can make it better, more fun, etc. So this is like a medium-sized, or let's say medium-sized studio. But then in a AAA studio, you become more detailed, more specialized. For example, in a level designer, you can be more specialized in open world designer. So it's more specific in the game development process. You're not just a 2D level designer. You're going into more detail. حتى ترى, by the way, there is 2D open world, I understand, but it's more specialized. Next, for example, in content designer, they are more specific to be narrative. Narrative designer basically يحب يكون في مثلا dialogue in the game, and who will write the dialogue, that kind of thing. The narrative designer likes to write things. He likes to write statistics of, for example, weapon +1 damage. He's more into narrating the game, how to have the story of the game more, let's say, إنه ما يكون في gap. إن من بداية اللعبة لنهايتها أنت you're following the story. يعني مو باللي مثلا الواحد يلعب لعبة ما بعرف شنو القصة. Quest designer, that's really fun, good fun to do, is to design quests. If your game has, if it's an RPG or an MMO or even like a single player adventure RPG game, you would have to do quests, and they're usually in a AAA publisher or studio. You would get someone مختص, not just one, maybe 2 or 3 quest designers. So it's a specialized role. A technical designer. Technical designers in a AAA studio. It's funny. Sometimes you would get specific technical designers that do very specific things. I saw a movie or a video on YouTube that day, and there is a game called Red Dead Redemption, and it's all about cowboys and horses. Imagine there's a technical designer, khas, just to, he's in charge of the system, the horse system. How does he move? How does he react? How does he hit? Does he die? Does he? So there is واحد يداوم كل صبحية. He designs the system for the horse. So it's very specific in AAA games. Sometimes you get specific technical designers. Experienced designers also can be more specific, where you get into gameplay. It's most of the time when you play mediocre or average games, you don't know how to do things. For example, if you have a tutorial, the gameplay designer will make sure that he has a tutorial in the game. The gameplay designer also thinks about the player's interaction in the game. So he gets more into detail for player gameplay. Is it fun? Is it boring? Is it إنه بس okay the player مكتوب وما عنده شيء يقدر يسويه؟ لا، معناته إنه هو he has to design that for them. The UX designer, or the user experience, mostly the user interface, the menus, the buttons. I'm not going to talk about a lot about UX design, because it's going to be covered by our friend Abdurrahman and another day. So basically now we covered game designers, and these are some of the designers in a AAA studio, and you can be either all of the above or a combination of a few, or you can master one of them and just pursue it. So okay, I'm a game designer. What's my role, and what can I do next? So your role is to collaborate with artists, animators, programmers, writers. So how do you collaborate? You collaborate with the game design documents. Game design documents, not a lot of people know what this document is, but it's the role of a game designer to either write the game design document or contribute to it. It depends on how specific you are. What's this game design document? I'll talk about it in the next slide, but what do you guys think a game design document is? Game design documents is very hard. Sometimes it takes time to do, but at the end it's very rewarding, and it helps the programmers, the artists understand what the game is. If you're going to do the game on your own, you don't need a game design document. It's all in your head. But for example, if you're going to be part of a team, then you need a game design document, because no need for everyone to meet every day and talk about the game. No, the game designer writes it, presents it to them, and gives them a copy. They can use it as a reference. So this is a game design document, and I'll show like a template, or let's say some of the questions that you should answer in the game design document. For example, genre, like what type of game? Is it going to be an RPG, or is it going to be strategy? Or what kind of genre is it? The setting, is it like a medieval game? Is it future, sci-fi? What's your target audience? Are you targeting children? Are you targeting people that like horror movies or horror games? Sorry. What's your target audience? Next, what's your selling point? You can't just copy games. You can take inspiration from them, but having your unique selling point can really differentiate or make you more stand out. So how can you take inspiration? You look at similar games, and these similar games, for example, you saw a game that you like and you think that you can do something better. Why not? Which platform? Is it going to be mobile? Is it going to be on a console, PC? What's the plot of the game? What's the point? Is this, for example, Super Mario, the plot is for him to save the princess. Easy, simple. Which game engine will you use? Unreal, Unity, or just code it from only code? Which engine? Game mechanics. Here you get into more details that will help the programmers implement these mechanics in the game. So if you list them in a detailed way, not necessarily in a technical way, but at least writing them. For example, if there is like an action bar where you have to select buttons, then you can write them down or draw it, sketch it out in the game design document. Graphic style, like are you going for pixel art or going for realism? What kind of art style are you going for? Sound requirements, is there sound effects? Is there music? What are your requirements for the game? Do you need like an original soundtrack? Monetization model. How will you make money from it? Or you don't want to make money? It's up to you. But is it going to be a free to play with an option to buy a premium, or is it going to be a fixed? So it's the game design document will cover a lot, and it will take a lot of your time. Writing this game design document, and it's fun for game designers. Trust me, it's fun to write it down and put it on paper. And when you're done, trust me, it will feel good. And it will feel rewarding. It will feel that you have achieved something. You have a product. A game design document is a product. You can easily, sometimes if you're lucky, you can go to an investor and show them this game design document, and they'll be like, let's do it. I'll give you money, do the game for me. So this game design document will help for the developers and for you to know what's your, let's say, توجه حق the game that you want. So here comes the next question. Are you guys ready? Okay, so this should be a very easy answer. It shouldn't take long for a lot of people, especially the artists. So the question is, who is the guy or the character in the on the right that's typing on the keyboard, and the guy with the sunglasses? He is a famous character in one of the cartoon Pixar, I think, or I'm not sure. It's just he's a famous character. Yeah, Ali J got it. Congratulations. So I think now we got 2-2. Ali J 2, and I think Isa is 2. Yeah, good job. So moving on. I'm not keeping track, by the way. I think Ahmed or Fahad is just keeping track, but this is currently the score. So what's next? Yeah, how to get a job as a game designer. So it's not easy, especially in this region. It's not like you can go to. It's not like you can go to like open up the newspaper and look for game design job, looking for game designer. It's not that easy. I'll talk about it more, but game designers in the region is still young. It's still not happening, let's say. But that doesn't mean that you can't follow this passion and game design. You can still go ahead. You can still write things down. You can still join teams and make games. So it's not like you have to get a job as a game designer. But if you want to get a job as a game designer, there are 4 things you need to know, or you need to have. There are 4 things you need to have. So the first one, design thinking. So what do I mean by design thinking? Some people, they don't like to be creative, or they just want to do their job. So design thinking, what does it include? Game designers, most of good game designers, they follow the trend of games. The trend of games lately, there's lots of new genres that are popping up, like battle royale games. Before battle royale, there was only MMOs. And then battle royale came in, and just a lot of MMO subscribers just stopped playing. They went to battle royale games. It was the new genre. So you have to follow what's the new trends, so you can't make games that are old, unless you make them, you develop them even more. What are the engine capabilities, especially now Unreal 5 just released the alpha. The capabilities now is just insane. You can do a lot with game engines. Take advantage of VR, for example, AR. So yeah, understanding the engines and the capabilities out there will help you design your next game better. Next, understand game balance. For example, I saw an example on a YouTube video that day about game balance, and they were like, imagine a game, the game rock, paper, scissors, and imagine you remove the rock and you just have paper and scissors. Will it be balanced? Will the game work? Obviously not, because the game works if all 3 things are available. So game balance is very important. You can't have the player just one shot or every monster, or you can't have monsters that have 1 million health and you can't do anything to them. So you have to balance the statistics of the game to make it let's say fun to play and not just extremely hard. Fun factor, very, very important. When I talk to my friends about game development, the fun factor should be number 1 priority, I think, in any game. Why do we play games? Because we want to have fun. So if we're not having fun, stop playing games. Do something else. The second thing, you have to have communication skills. Communication skills not just in game development, not just as a game designer. You need it regardless in any sector, in any discipline. Communication skills is key and will help you get a job. How? You will be collaborating with a lot of developers. And if you don't have communication skills, if you're quiet, if you're you cannot bring, let's say, explain your points clearly to the development team, they won't understand what you want. So communication skills is very important. Plus criticism. Some people, they like to be arrogant, or let's say they think in their game or their ideas are the one that work. But if you're a game designer in a studio, the game designer is not running the show. There are leaders, there are people running the show that will tell you, okay, we heard what you're trying to say, but we're going with this idea. And he has to accept criticism. He has to be humble. He has to feel like he's not on his own. He's part of a team. And maybe the criticism is for his benefit, not just the criticism is wrong. Give us feedback. When you're in a studio and they tell you about a game, what's your feedback? Do you think the game can be better? How? Team player. If you're not a team player, why would you join a studio? Being a team player is very important, and communication skills will help you get it. The third thing that obviously every game designer needs and will definitely help you get a job is a strong portfolio. So how do I get a strong portfolio if I'm a game designer? Make stuff. Just make stuff. Download Unity, download game maker, download the Unreal. Try to fool around. Try to make a simple game. Try to get something under your belt. You won't write a game design document. Design a game. Just make stuff. And there are ways to do this. And other disciplines. If you're, for example, if you're an architect, or you're good in math, or you're good, these disciplines will definitely help you in the portfolio. So you have to include it. Not just say, oh, I've designed this game design document and that's it. لا, by the way, تخصصي مهندس. That will help. They're like, oh, maybe he can help us with the level design. Maybe he can help us with other things. So other disciplines will definitely help you in your portfolio. Other skills, for example, I'm an animator and an artist. That will definitely help. And adding in the portfolio will help. Modding is something a lot of people, gamers, like to do sometimes. They like to download a game where they can mod a map and make their personal map based on their design. If you have made this game or made this, let's say, map that will help you in the portfolio, definitely, especially if you're applying to a studio that, for example, if you're applying to Call of Duty and you download the Call of Duty map editor and you make a map for them, that will definitely help, just to show them what you can do. Remember, whenever you say that you did something, make sure you have to show where you contributed in the project. Not just say, I've done this game, or what exactly did you take part in the game development process if you're part of a team? Because it's very important, and showing off that you've done a game and you've only done like one logo or something, that will not it will show that you're not part of the development team. But if you say I did the logo for this game, then that's fair game. Fourth, last but not least, obviously, experience will really help. How do you get experience? At university. The university that Ahmed, the host of our channel, T-Side, is a famous one and a very good one for game development. So I highly recommend that. There are other game development or game design, universities around the world, in the US, in Australia, I think. This T-Side, I think, for the UK is fair game, really good university. Get an internship in a studio, just to get your experience with the developers, see how they work every day, how they operate. That would really help. Get online courses, especially now with the pandemic. Online courses, there are millions out there. You can just sign up and master your skills. Game jams, huge plus, huge plus. Not sure when is our next one, but hopefully soon, and I'm looking forward to it. So we're nearly done, but let's talk about this topic. It's kind of sensitive. So is game design a dream job? Well, yeah, it's a tough question. Especially in Bahrain. I'll talk about this more on the next slide. So is game design a dream job? A lot of things that can pop up from game design jobs. So it is risky. It is not an easy, like you can learn it or you easily get a job. No. But don't be discouraged. For every big risk, there is a big reward. So it is rewarding, but risky. Game design or game development, a lot of game developers would agree with me. And in the development process, there is crunch time, or there is time crunching, really, where there are deadlines, and there are you have to meet the needs of the player, you have to meet the needs of the investor if there is one. There is crunch time, and which will affect your health sometimes. So how do you overcome this? You can master your skills. So if you master your skills, if you know how to make your get your work done quicker, that's the how you can avoid it. Can I get a job in Bahrain? It's not. I don't think so, because it's not available yet. Hopefully one day, very soon, we can see studios popping up in Bahrain, and we can get studios developing worldwide games. لكن if you want to get a game design job, مو بشرط في Bahrain or in the region, there are ways to get jobs in other studios and work from home. So it's not necessarily, there are basically remote jobs. I can also say that in Bahrain, there is increased support for game development. There are examples out there. You just have to research. Temkeen, I'm sure they're supporting some developer. The Bahrain Development Board, BDB, also are helping. So there are ways to get support, and it's increasing every day. Hopefully, we can see something soon. Some studios around the world, you work hours and you put in all of your effort, and you don't get even a thank you for your effort. They'll be like, yeah, cancel all of that and do it again. It can get into your head. And how do you do that? You have to research which studio you want to join and make sure now what kind of environment you're getting into before joining that studio. Obviously, there are layoffs. You hear in the news, and companies that are closing down, companies that are laying off developers. So it's not just like, oh, the best job ever. No, so you have to ask around. Asking around is very important. people that have been in the studio but left, what did they feel? Did they like it? Did they left for other reasons? Why did they leave, etc.? So to answer that question, is the game design job a dream job? You have to understand the let's say the environment that you're getting yourself into. So you'll be like, لا أنا ما أبي أسوي لعبة بروحي، أبدش to a bigger company like Ubisoft or Square Enix, King, Bungie, 100 plus developers. Is that really the point? What we need, what you need? I can prove you wrong. I added 3 examples in my presentation of how you don't need to be part of a AAA studio to get the dream job as a game designer. So the first example will involve a question for the next one. So whenever I list the points, I'll stop and then say the points that I list are are the description of a game or a studio. So I'll ask after I finish the list of points, you'll have to guess the game based on the description that I added. If you get the point right, then good job. So the first one is this example has one developer. He didn't need to join the studio. He did it on his own, and guess what? He used pixel art. Pixel art to design this game, and in terms of art style, in terms of graphics, it is a simulation RPG, and it generated over 30 million in revenue. So this is the description. I can give you a clue, but not yet. I'll give a chance for people to answer the question. But this is the description of the game. If you guys think or know what's the game, please answer. Ooh, I think Zainab got it. Yeah. Good job, Zainab. I was just double checking if someone got it. But yeah, it's Stardew Valley. I was going to give you this clue, but yeah, it's Stardew Valley, developed by one developer, generating $30 million. It's not something you can take lightly. But yeah, you don't need to be in a big studio in order to get this dream job. No, you can do it on your own. Pixel art. So are you guys ready for the next one? Okay, so this game, similar to the first one, is an indie studio. Started a small game. It's a 2D platformer. And it's also pixel art. And I don't know how pixel art is generating money, but it sold 2 million units. And it's not something easy to say that you've sold 2 million units with a pixel art game, 2D platformer. What's the name of the game? It's all. No, I think it started on Steam, and then it jumped to console. I'm not sure about my mobile. Okay, if no one answered right, I'll just give you a hint. Don't Google it. It's okay. Nobody can. I mean, if it's not. Oh, JMO got it. Good job, JMO. I'm not sure if he's the Googler of the group, but yeah, he got it right. Shovel Knight, and yeah, Shovel Knight is a game that sold 2 million units using pixel art. Pixel art. Okay, so I have one more. I'm sure you can guess it before I finish the description. And it's a very inspiring story. So let's move on. The third question, the final question of this contest, and hopefully, inshallah, one can win, because if someone doesn't win, we have to do a final question. So the first one, or the first point I'm going to say, also done by one developer, developed by one person. Launched the game in 2011, release. He got acquired by Microsoft for 2.5 billion, milliard, billion, with a B, Bahrain, generating 3 billion in revenue. This is all I can say for the game. Let's see who's the quickest. Oh, I think Fahad answered the answer correctly, but Fahad, you're part of the team. Zainab got it. Zainab, I think, is the first one. Fahad, sorry, you're part of the team. You can't win. Zainab got it. Good job. Yeah. So the answer should the winner was done by Mojang, the company, but the guy started it. Minecraft is the correct answer, and congratulations, Zainab. And I think, I'm not sure, did she get the highest score? Before we wrap it up, I just want to make sure. No, I think we got it wrong. Did we? Wait, Asa says, and he said Minecraft too. Yeah, in my screen, Zainab said it first, but anyways, yeah, we got a tie. Okay, so I'll think of a bonus question, so we can yeah, I have a question that everyone can answer, or so not everyone, but everyone can answer, but I'm not sure everyone would know. So yeah, I'll do it live because I don't have a slide ready. Are you guys ready for the question, the last sudden death question? Just say yes, Ahmed, if you're ready, and I'll ask away. Yeah, and obviously only Ali and Isa and Zainab can answer. And I think some of them know the answer, so we should get a winner. Okay, so the last question. So sudden death for the viewers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. But the last question. Back in 2013, me and my cousin started a studio. What is it called? Me and my cousin started a studio back in 2013. What did we call our studio? Yeah, I think Zainab got it. Good job, Zainab. So to wrap things up, congratulations to the winner. And what will you develop next? So I hope you got inspired by this presentation. Game design is huge. It's very important in a game development studio. You never know. You never know when you design your next game that might hit, it might not. So this is the end of the presentation, and tomorrow we got Haytham, and he's going to talk about the intro to game development. I hope you guys liked the presentation. Thank you for attending Extreme Game Dev, and I hope you come next time, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you, inshallah, very, very soon. This is me, Fahad Khalifa, and really, really big thanks to Ahmed and his team for hosting this live stream. And yeah, thank you.